Game of telephone reading, not chronological. Twitter user International Cyber Digest said that former Vice Media's motherboard crew that became 404 Media said their unnamed journalist, as of now, because I can't find it, said they, just 404 Media, suspected a rare book would be acquired for AI training data because they've been very obsessed with this narrative for a few years now, more than a few. Then somehow a tracking device or AirTag was placed in or on that rare book. And that was in a bulk order shipment of rare books somehow. And it went to Las Vegas's Amazon warehouse, LAS8. And this apparently has a window on one of the buildings near it, or part of it, that lists VGT3. And it has a picture of a T-Rex reading a book or tearing it up or whatever, digesting a book. And again, it's either 404 Media or the journalist, I'm just mixing them up at this point, said an Amazon worker claimed, now we have how many layers of telephone? To scan them for ebooks, we cut off the book's binding and spines to pull the pages and presumably covers through a scanner or to allow for scanning to digitize them for ebooks. And obviously if they do that, they recycle the pages from the books. But the rest of the story is for paid members only. And everybody is teasing that you have to go to the website and sign up and join their crew so they can claim to have lots of viewers and followers on their website, 404media.co, etc. And, yeah. So let's do this. x.com/Int Cyber Digest, status, string of numbers. The YouTube video is a YouTube video, and it has 8-P, and then it ends in ZUSK. And the YouTube channel is at 404 Media Co. And it's been around since 2023 and has 70,000 subscribers. That'll obviously be changing. 500 videos. That's nice. 5 million views. Okay. And they're kind of obsessed with the meme of AI training and AI bad, which all of us agree with. So why are you pushing it? That's a weird one. Half the tweets are talking about journalists. You know, that's like saying scientists are baffled. Half of them actually mention it's 404 Media that's the claimed source. So, are any of you getting that journalists don't leave questions that I have to ask of it? So here we go. Archives below, so that if and or when they change their story or double down, we have the data. A Twitter user claiming to be International Cyber Digest, and I can be Lord High Muckety Muck. I'm sure they're actually a group, obviously, but let's make fun of them a little. And former members of the motherboard crew at Vice Media that became 404 Media, that's obsessed on a single subject, which is how you get views. And or unnamed journalist, why unnamed journalist, has a suspected rare book that would be suspected for using AI training data input. Why? Explain. Well, you have to pay for that. And they place a tracking device and or AirTag. How do you do that with a rare book that you're implying that's a rare book, or it's expensive, or it's irreplaceable, or one of a kind, or priceless? How did you fuck this book up by putting an AirTag? Have any of you looked at AirTags recently? Where would you place this? I'm going to explain this to you if you're not aware of it. No, I'm not. You're going to go look up how this works. Put the effort into it. I have spent time being an I'm a 451er. I'm one of the people who prevents the book burning. I was involved in this. I'm partially responsible, very tiny part of it, not huge, for making sure that a very rare book, legally, was made available to the public that you might be able to still download. OT Level 8, you might have heard of it. I helped make sure that that was leaked. We scanned each page by getting into the book room, cutting the page out, taking it up the street, scanning it, dumping it as a fax signal, because that authenticated that it was a real sheet of paper on a real fax machine. Then going back and then carefully re-gluing it. There's a special way of doing it. Look up how to replace a page in a book. You don't just cut it. That's not going to work. You have to do a much more gruesome thing to it. But I created a blade that would go, you put a sheet, a very thin sheet, like an eraser shield, under one side, and on the other side you put this other plate in, and it would cut it at a 45-degree angle, and you'd paint the 45-degree angle a specific amount of glue, and then go in and press it exactly right by referencing it to the rest of the book and putting it in place. Because these were pulp books, but we had to make sure they looked clean, and on the inside, on both surfaces, we'd press it shut, and you couldn't even tell the page came out, except for a couple of people who screwed it up. But we got all the pages. But Waptec doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Anyway, to scan a book like this, yeah, cutting off the spine. Most of these are perfect binding pulp books. It's glue. You have to cut it because they won't open at a 90-degree angle cleanly, so you can scan them straight up and down and then scan them this way. You use two different scanners pointed this way and that, or just put it onto it's not what you think about putting it on a photocopier. Please stop breaking their backs, okay? But there's a right way to do this. So let me get this straight. Rich fucker, not Zuckerberg, but we're talking about the other one, the bozo. I mean the Bezos, the Bezos sneezers, the sneezos. He authorized them getting books that, if you're saying rare book, you're presuming they're extremely irreplaceable, extremely expensive, right? But they don't name the book. I'm sure they do if you pay for it to read it, so you can actually evaluate this. Okay? Do they tell you exactly where they put the AirTag in, or whatever it was? Or did they do the simple thing of AirTagging the box? If this is a bulk order, it's in a shipping container. You tag the box it's in, which means you don't know it went there. That's a sorting location for books. If they buy them in bulk, there's a rule, if you're not aware of it. Any publication that's under copyright, fuck it, perfect, just done. You're allowed to make a backup copy. And specifically an electronic copy. Or an identical copy, if you own it. But you don't shut up. We're talking about a large corporation run by a billionaire. He's going to take advantage of the wording of the law. And that backup copy can be kept until you don't own the book. It doesn't say if it's destroyed. That individual copy, as long as it's in your possession in some form, the backup is in case it gets destroyed. Well, he did it to the claim is it's a rare book. Which one? Can you get that information? Post for paid members only is a gigantic red flag. So let's move on. So Bezos, the guy who wants to look money and act money and be considered cool, he is profoundly non-cool and always will be non-cool. Like Trump will never be cool. The whole shittery of these people, they're anti-aura. They suck aura at other people. It's irreplaceably screwed. Is going to miss a chance at having a rare book he can put up that he's never going to read, that he's going to keep as a trophy of his of power, because he won capitalism, the game. He won the game of Monopoly. He's going to destroy a rare book, presumably expensive. Or, oh, this sounds crazy. Since he's basically got a slave labor force, it is. Wouldn't he just have someone just hold the book open and put a proper scanner on it that'll do a good job getting the first surface data and not copy the other side on some rare book? Again, it wasn't named. The first thing I would put up is it's an archaic copy of such and such. Well, you know, the 404 media crew didn't want to violate its privacy or something. No, what was it? It's sensationalistic here. They're going to be, well, it's a rare copy of the Quran or the Bible or something. Didn't say what it is. So it's not something that would be newsworthy. Okay, what is this actually at? This is probably a location it was sent to in a crate. The crate was left there. They then decant the books, sort them by rarity, condition, etc. Find the ones they're going to scan. Oops, we scanned our backup copies. Oops, the originals were destroyed. Because if it's destroyed, you're legitimately allowed to keep the backup copy in digital form if you want to, or a fax sent. That was actually an example in the decision about this. And the idea is that, and I'm fairly sure these are going to be recorded on literally audio tape if necessary to be able to get around the law. We have stupid copyright laws, by the way. But anyway, in lieu of being able to digitize them, but it's for AI. No, this is for ebooks and this is for Kindle, and shut up. That's what this original system was for. You'd buy a bunch of books in bulk that were duplicates. You'd pay somebody in China to find a rare book and make a dupe of it, because why would you destroy the original? This has, how did you get the AirTag on the book? No, it was on the container it was in. It's a bulk order of rare books. Really? They're bulk ordering rare books. From where? The rare bookstore up on the end of the street? You know where you find rare books? At your local used bookshop. You will find rare books that way. This happens every goddamn day in the United States and in Europe. You scour them for books that are simply old. And you see, is this already digitized? No. Okay, well, if it's old enough, it's not illegal to just scan it and dump it on the Gutenberg project, or dump it onto archive.org, which is what people are doing. And you know how they do it? They just scan them by opening them up at a 90-degree angle. Well, what if you can't do that with a book? Then you're dealing with an actual rare book that's been physically damaged and has ended up having the pages kind of fused together. You have to scan it. There's no way to do it without doing it destructively or passively. The passive method is you use a very weird version of an MRI or something like that and scan the information in that way. Those projects are going, but sometimes, and this has been done in the past, in order to get a book, you know, just to transcribe it, not even scanning it, you had to destroy the book itself, because you would separate the front and back of the page from each other and then scan it from lighting from behind so that there's no interference pattern from the other side, and get the data that way and write it down the best you can. And then keep those original sheets together with an absorbent material between them, rice paper with some compound in it sometimes, whatever it is. It could be anything. Just to keep them from chemically reacting anymore, and hope you can do a better job in another 100 years. I've done data recovery on books. I've done data recovery on hard drives and CDs that were damaged. I was infamous at one time being able to do some pretty crazy shit. Completely by accident. I don't deserve the accolade, but I was able to do it. I restored books before. This is how the sausage is made, I'm sorry. But they wouldn't do this to a book that was worth a shit ton of money, would be a prestige item for Bezos to have in his library he never reads anything out of. This doesn't make any damn sense. This post is for paid members only. Archives below in the description, because we archive. And again, any book that's beyond a certain age old, you're legally permitted to just scan it and distribute it. And even if you're not, you're able to get away with it. How do you think I get most of my data, and how do you think you get most of your data? And running it through an AI to reword it so it becomes a derivative work so you can just release it for public usage is actually a thing. And oddly enough, one of the places doing it is actually the location you're talking about. They don't destroy the books. They just reword them so they can violate the copyright and get away with it. Now, that's something people were complaining about them doing recently. But they also have human beings do it. And again, every other country does the same thing so the books don't disappear. A lot of people are Fahrenheit 451ers like me who don't want books to disappear or be destroyed. This doesn't pass the sniff test. This was a rage bait article. That's an opinion from somebody who has some knowledge. Only a little. I might have a little bit of knowledge about making sure you can read a specific book you're not allowed to read. Or several dozen that I won't take credit for because I don't want to get shot. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You'll need it. And take down the paywall and tell us which book it was, bare minimum. and then we get to decide how rare that book really is.